ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। चैप्टर 7 द नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट एक्ट 1881। लर्निंग आउटकम्स। After studying this chapter, you would be able to understand the meaning, characteristics, and elements of different kinds of negotiable instruments, classification, and various ways of negotiation. Known about provisions related to presentment of instruments and rules of compensation. Rules of compensation. Chapter overview. Chapter covers the following headings: notes, bills and checks types, classification and its characteristics, modes of negotiation, presentment of instruments, rules of compensation. Introduction. The law relating to negotiation instrument is the law of the commercial world, which was enacted to facilitate the activities in trade and commerce, making provision for giving sanctity to the instruments of credit, which could be deemed to be convertible into money and easily passable from one person to another. In the absence of such instruments, the trade and commerce activities were likely to be adversely affected, as it was not practicable for the trading community to carry with it the bulk of the currency in force. The source of Indian law relating to such instruments is admittedly the English common law. The main objective of the act is to legalize the system by which instruments contemplated by it could pass from one hand to hand by negotiation like any other goods. The law in India relating to negotiable instruments is contained in the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. This is an act to define and delimit the law relating to promissory notes, bill of exchange and checks. The act appeals to the whole of India, but nothing herein contained affects the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, Section 21, which provides the bank to have the rights to transact government business in India, or affects only local uses relating to any instrument in an Oriental language, provided that such uses may be excluded by any words in the body of the instrument which indicate an intention that the legal relations of the parties thereto shall be governed by this act, and it shall come into force on the first day of March 1882. The provisions of this act there are also applicable to hundis unless there is a local uses to the contrary. Other native instruments like treasury bills bearer, bearer debentures, railway receipts, delivery orders, bill of lading, etc. are also considered as negotiable instruments either by mercantile custom or under other enact, 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 enactments. Recent developments. The Act was amended several times. Following are the significant amendments made in the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. The Negotiable Instrument Amended and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2002. The Negotiable Instrument Act Amended 2015 and the Negotiable Instruments Act Amended 2018. Meaning of negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument, an instrument. The word instrument means a document which is freely transferable by customers of trade from one person to another person by marriage, delivery or by endorsement and delivery. The property in such an instrument passed to a bona fide transferee for value. Negotiable instrument is an instrument which is freely transferable from one person to another person by marriage, delivery or by endorsement and delivery. The property in such an instrument pass to a bona fide transferee for value. The Act does not define the term negotiable instruments. However, Section 13 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 provides for only three kinds of negotiable instruments, namely bill of exchange, promissory notes, and checks payable either to order or bearer. It is to be noted that hundies, treasury bills, bearer debentures, railway receipts, delivery orders, bill of lading, etc. are also considered as negotiable instruments either by mercantile customs or uses. Types of negotiable instruments: promissory note, bill of exchange, check. A negotiable instrument is payable to order when it is expressed to be so payable. When it is expressed to be payable to a specified person and does not contain words prohibiting its transfer, that it is transferable by endorsement and delivery. A instrument is payable to bearer when it is expressed to be so payable. Example: pays bearer when the only or last endorsement means um, signing of the instrument on the instrument is an endorsement in blank, that is, the person who passes it can demand payment. For example, a check made payable to a specified person and that check is endorsed by signing on the back of the check by that specified person. Essential characteristics of negotiable instruments: it is necessarily in writing. It should be signed. It is freely transferable from one person to another. Holder's title is free from defects. It can be transferred any number of times till its satisfaction. Every negotiation, every negotiable instrument must contain an unconditional promise or order to pay money. The promise or order to pay must consist of money only. The sum payable, the sum payable, the time of payment, the pay must be certain. The instrument should be delivered. Mere drawing of instrument does not create liability. The instrument should be delivered. Mere drawing of instrument does not create liability. Characteristics: written, signed, transferable, title free from defects, can be transferred number of times, unconditional promise or order to pay, certainty of sum payable, time of payment and the pay delivered. Promissory note meaning according to section 4 of negotiable instrument 1881, a promissory note is an instrument in writing, not being a bank note or a currency note, containing an unconditional undertaking signed by the maker to pay a certain sum of money only to or to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. Parties to promissory note: maker. The person who makes the promise to pay is called the maker. He is the debtor and must sign the instrument. Pay. Payee is the person to whom the amount on the note is payable. Essential characteristic of a promissory note in writing: an oral promise to pay is not sufficient. There must be an express promise to pay. Mere acknowledgement of debt is insufficient. Mere acknowledgement of debt is insufficient. I uh, one I acknowledge myself to be indebted to be in 1,000 rupees to be paid on demand for value received. Valid promissory note has the promise to pay is defined. Mr. B. Mr. B. I owe you 1,000 rupees. Invalid promissory note has there is no promise to pay no promise to pay. It is just acknowledgement to of debt. The promise to pay should be defined and unconditional. Therefore, instruments payable on performance or non-performance of a particular act or on the happening or non-happening of an event are not promissory notes. However, the promise to pay may subject to a condition which according to the ordinary experience of mankind is bound to happen. I promise to pay B rupees 500 7 days after my marriage with C. The promissory note is invalid as marriage with C may or may not happen. I promise to pay B rupees 500 on D's death as the death of D is certain. Promise, promissory note in unconditional. Thus the promissory note is valid. I promise to pay B 500 rupees on this death provided T leaves me enough to pay that sum. Invalid promissory note has promise is dependent on D's leaving behind money which is not certain. D. A promissory note must be signed by the maker. Otherwise, it is incomplete and ineffective. Promise to pay money only. The promise to pay B rupees 500 and to deliver to him my black horse on 1st January next. It is not a valid promissory note as the promisor needs to deliver its black horse which is not money. Promise to pay a certain sum. I promise to pay B rupees 500 and all other sums which shall be due to him. Promissory note invalid as the amount payable is not certain, but sometimes the language of a promissory note is such that the amount payable can be easily ascertained. In such cases, the promissory note will be valid. I I promise to pay B rupees 500 along with simple interest at the rate of 12% per annum. The maker and payee must be certain, definite, and different persons. A promissory note cannot be made payable to the bearer. Section 31 of the of the Bank of India Act RBI Act 1934. Only the Reserve Bank or the Central Bank can make or issue a promissory note payable to bearers. Stamping. A promissory note must be properly stamped in accordance with the provisions of the Indian Stamp Act, and such stamp must be duly cancelled by maker's signatures or initials initials on such stamp or otherwise. Or initial on such stamp or otherwise. Bill of exchange. A bill of exchange is an instrument in writing containing an unconditional order signed by the maker directing a certain person to pay a certain sum of money only to or to the order of or to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. Parties to the bill of exchange. Drawer, the maker of a bill of exchange. Drawee, the person directed by the drawer to pay is called the drawee. He is the person on whom the bill is drawn. On acceptance of the bill, he is called an acceptor and is liable for the payment of the bill. His liability is primary and unconditional. Page, the person named in the instrument to whom or to whose order the money is by the instrument directed to be paid. Essential characteristics of bill of exchange. It must be in writing, must contain an express order to pay. The order to pay must be definite and unconditional. The drawer must sign the instrument. Drawer, drawee, and payee must be certain. All these three parties may not necessarily be three different persons. One cannot one can play the role of two, but there must be two distinct persons in any case. As per Section 31 of the RBI Act 1934, a bill of exchange cannot be made payable to bearer on demand. On demand, pay to the bearer the sum of rupees 500 for value received. It is invalid bill of exchange. However, a bill of exchange payable on demand in which name of the payee is mentioned is valid. On demand, pay to a or order the sum of rupees 500 for value received. It is valid bill of exchange. The sum must be certain. The order must be to pay money only. It must be stamped. Process of bill of exchange. Mr. Sam Drawer sold goods to Mrs. Rita Drawey and draws of draws a bill of exchange. The bill of exchange delivered to Rita and is accepted by her unconditionally. On maturity, drawer presents the instrument to drawee for payment. Drawer receives payment and transaction is completed. In the above image, firstly, the seller sold good to the buyer and then draws a bill of exchange on him. The bill of exchange is delivered by the buyer who accepts it without any condition. On maturity bill of exchange, the buyer will pay the amount due to the payee. The payee may be the drawer himself or a third party. Difference between promissory note and bill of exchange. Definition. A promissory note is an instrument in writing, not being a banknote or a currency note, containing an unconditional undertaking signed by the maker to pay a certain sum of money only to or to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. Bill of exchange. A bill of exchange is an instrument in writing containing an unconditional order signed by the maker directing a certain person to pay a certain sum of money only to or to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. Nature of instrument. In a promissory note, there is a promise to pay money. In a bill of exchange, there is an order for making payment. Parties in a promissory note. These are only two parties, namely the maker and the payee. In a bill of exchange, there are three parties which are has under the drawer, the payee. Acceptance. A promissory note does not require any acceptance as it is signed by the person who is liable to pay. A bill of exchange needs acceptance from the drawee. Payable to bearer. A promissory note cannot be made payable to bearer. On the other hand, a bill of exchange can be drawn payable to bearer. However, it cannot be payable to bearer on demand. Check Section 6 of the Civil Instruments Act 1881. A check is a bill of exchange drawn on a specified banker and not expressed to be payable otherwise than on demand, and it includes the electronic image of a truncated check and a check in the electronic form. Check bill of exchange drawn on specified banker payable on demand. Payable on demand means it should be payable whenever the holder chooses to present it to draw the banker. The expression banker includes any person acting as a banker and any post office saving bank. Section 3. Explanation. For the purposes of this section, the expression check in the electronic form means a check drawn in electronic form by using any computer resource and signed in a secure system with a digital signature, with without or biometric signature, and asymmetric crypto system or electronic signature, as the case may be. Note: for the purposes of this section, the expressions asymmetric crypto system, computer resource, digital signature, electronic form, and electronic signature shall have the same meaning respectively assigned to them in the Information Technology Act 2000. A truncated check means a check which is truncated during a clearing cycle. Either by the clearing house or by the bank, whether paying or receiving payment immediately on generation of an electronic image for transmission, substituting the further physical movement of the check in writing. Explanation 2. For the purposes of this section, the expression clearing house means the clearing house managed by the Reserve Bank of India or a clearing house recognized as such by the Reserve Bank of India. Explanation 3. For the purposes of this section, the expression as- asymmetric crypto system, computer resource, digital signature, electronic form, and electronic signature shall have the same meanings, respectively, assigned to them in the Information Technology Act 2000. A combined reading of Section 5 and Section 6 tells us that a bill of exchange is a negotiable instrument in writing containing an inst- instru- instruction to a third party to pay a stated sum of money at a designated future date or on demand, whereas a check is also a bill of exchange but is drawn on a banker and payable on demand. Parties to check drawer: the person who draws a check that is makes the check debtor. His liability is primary and conditional. Drawee: the specific bank on whom check is drawn. He makes the payment of the check. In case of check drawee is always banker. Drawee in case of need: when in the bill or in any endorsement thereon, the name of any person is given in additional to the drawee to be restored restored to. In case of need, such person is called a person drawee. In case of need, payee: the person named in the instrument, that is, the person is in whose favor check is issued, to whom or to whose order the money is by the instrument directed to be paid, is called the payee. The payee may be the drawer himself or a third party. Check: person who is a maker. Drawer: person who is directed to pay. Drawee: person in whose favor issued. Payee. Essential characteristics of a check. According to the definition of check under section 6 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, a check is a species of bill of exchange. Thus, it should fulfill all the essential characteristics of a bill of exchange. Must be drawn on a specified banker. It must be payable on demand. Note: these two additional features distinguish a check from bill. Thus, all checks are bills, while all bills are not checks. Classification of negotiable instruments. Bearer instrument and order instrument. Section 13 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Bearer instrument. It is an instrument where the name of the page is blank or where the name of page is specified with the words or bearer, or where the last endorsement is blank. Such instrument can be negotiated by mere delivery. Order instrument. It is an instrument which is payable to a person or payable to a person or his order or payable to order of a person or where the last endorsement is in full. Such instrument can be negotiated by endorsement and delivery. Bearer instrument. Name of the page is blank or name of page is specified with the words or bearer or the last endorsement is blank. Negotiated by mere delivery. Order instrument. Payable to a person or payable to a person his order or payable to order of a person or the last endorsement is in full negotiated by endorsement and delivery. Inland instrument and foreign instrument. Section 11 Section 12 of the Negotiable Instrument 1881. Inland instrument. A promissory note, a bill of exchange or check drawn or made in India and made payable in order or drawn upon any person resident in India shall be deemed to be an inland instrument. A promissory note made in Kolkata and payable in Mumbai. A bill drawn in Varanasi on a person resident in Jodhpur, although it is stated to be payable in Singapore. A resident of Agra draw that is made a bill of exchange in Agra on B. A merchant in New York and B accepted the bill of exchange as payable in Delhi. It is an inland bill of exchange that is in this case the bill of exchange was drawn in India and also payable in India. A resident of Mumbai drew a bill of exchange in Mumbai on B. A merchant in Mathura and B accepted the bill of exchange as payable in London. It is also an inland bill of exchange. In this case, the bill of exchange was drawn in India on a person resident in India. It is immaterial that the amount is payable in London. An inland instrument remains inland even if it has been endorsed in a foreign country. If the bills of exchange mentioned in above two examples are endorsed in France, they will remain inland bills. Place where instrument is drawn and made payable. Promissory note, bill of exchange, check drawn made in India, resident of person on whom instrument is drawn, payable in India or drawn upon a person resident in India. Nature of instrument are inland instrument inland instruments. Foreign instruments foreign instrument a foreign instrument is one which is not an inland instrument. In other words, can be understood as follows: place where bill is drawn, promissory note, bill of exchange, check drawn made outside in India, residence of person on whom drawn, and place where made payable on a person resident in or outside India, made payable in India on a person resident resident on a person residing outside India, plus payable outside India on a person residing in India, plus payable outside India. Nature of instruments are foreign foreign bills foreign bills. Liability of maker drawer of foreign bill. In the absence of a contract to the country, the liability of the maker or drawer of a foreign promissory note or bill of exchange or check is regulated in all essential matters by the law of the place where he made the instrument, and the respective liabilities of the acceptor and endorser by the law of the place where the instrument is made payable. Section 134 of the negotiable instrument does okay. A bill of exchange is drawn by a in Berkeley, where the rate of interest is 15% and accepted by B, payable in Washington, where the rate of interest is 6%. The bill is endorsed in India and is dishonored. An action on the bill is brought against B in India. He is liable to pay interest at the rate of 6% only. But if A is charged as drawer, he is liable to pay interest at 15%. Inland instrument ban promissory note, bill of exchange, promissory note, check drawn made in India, made payable in drawn upon person resident in India. Foreign instrument ban promissory note or bill of exchange or check is not drawn in India, is not made in India, is not made payable in India. Insured, insured and ambiguous instruments. Insured instrument, it means an instrument that is incomplete in certain respects. The drawer or maker or acceptor or endorser of a negotiable instrument may sign and deliver the instrument to another person in his capacity, leaving the instrument either wholly blank or having written the on it the word incomplete. Such an such an instrument such an instrument is called an intuitive instrument, and this gives a power to its holder to make it complete by writing any amount either within limits specified therein or within the limits specified by the stamps affixed on it. The principle of this rule of an insured instrument is based on the principle of estoppel liability on drawing in insured instrument. The person the person the person singing and delivering the insured instrument is liable both to a holder and holder in due course. However, there is a difference in their respective rights. The holder of such an instrument cannot recover the amount in excess of the amount intended to be paid by the signer. The hold the holder the holder in due course can however can can recover any amount on such instrument provided it is covered by the stamp affixed on the instrument. Section 20 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 reads as where one person signs and delivers to another a paper stamped in accordance with the law relating to negotiable instruments then in force in India, and either wholly blank or having written thereon an incomplete negotiable instrument, he thereby gives prima facie authority to the holder thereof to make or complete, as the case may be, upon it a negotiable instrument for any amount specified therein, and not exceeding the amount covering by the stamp. The person so signing shall be liable upon such instrument in the capacity in which he signed the same, to any holder in due course for such amount, provided that no person other than a holder in due course shall recover from the person delivering the instrument anything in excess of the amount intended by him to be paid thereunder. A person, a person signed a blank acceptance on a bill of exchange and kept it in his drawer. The bill The bill was stolen by X and he filled it up for rupees 20,000 and negotiated it to an innocent person for value. It was it was held that the signer to the blank acceptance was not liable to the holder in due course because he never delivered the instrument intending it to be used as a negotiable instrument. Further, as a condition of liability, the signer has a maker, drawer, endorser or acceptor must deliver the instrument to another. In the absence of delivery, the uh, in the absence of delivery, the signer is not liable. The signer is not liable. Furthermore, the paper so signed and delivered must be stamped in accordance with the law prevalent at the time of signing, signing and one on delivering. Otherwise, the signer is not stopped from showing that the instrument was filed without his authority. MVGS instrument section 17 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 reads as where an instrument may be construed either has a promissory note or a bill of exchange, the holder may at his election treat it as either, and the instrument shall be then see forward treated accordingly. Thus, an instrument which is vague and cannot be clearly identified either has a bill of exchange or has a promissory note is an ambiguous instrument. In other words, such an instrument may be constructed either has a promissory note or has a bill of exchange. Section 17 provides that the holder may at his dis, dis, discretion treat it as either, and the instrument shall thereafter be treated accordingly. Thus, after exercising his exercising his option, the holder cannot change that it is the other kind of instrument. Negotiation, transfer of negotiable instruments. One of the essential characteristics of a negotiable instrument is that it is freely transferable from one person to another. The rights in a negotiable instrument can be transferred from one person to another by negotiation. According to Section 14 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, when a negotiable instrument is transferred to any person with a view to constitute the person holder thereof, the instrument is deemed to have been negotiated. Thus, there is a transfer of ownership of the instrument. Negotiable instrument may be negotiated either by delivery when these are payable to bearer or by endorsement and delivery when these are payable to order. Modes of negotiation in case where promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to bearer by delivery, actual, constructive. In case where promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to order, endorsement plus delivery. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to bearer is negotiable by the delivery thereof. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to order is negotiable by the holder by endorsement and delivery thereof. F. Draw a check for 50,000 rupees payable to buy and delivered it to him. By endorsed the check in favor of Z, but but kept it in his table drawer. Subsequently, by died and check was found by Z in Y's table drawer. In this case, Z does not become the holder of the check as the negotiation was not completed by delivery of the check to him. Negotiation by delivery. Section 47 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, subject to the provisions of Section 58. Instrument obtained by unlawful means or for unlawful consideration. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to bearer is negotiable by delivery thereof. Exception. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check delivered on condition that it is not to take effect except in a certain event is not negotiable except unless such event happens except in the hands of a holder for value without notice of the condition. A. The holder of a negotiable instrument payable to bearer delivers it to B's agent to keep for B. The instrument has been negotiated. A. the holder of negotiable instrument payable to bearer, which is in the hands of is banker, whose is at the time of the banker of B, directs the banker to transfer the instrument to B's credit in the banker's account with B. The banker does so and accordingly now possesses the instrument as B's agent. The instrument has been negotiated and B has become the holder of it. Negotiation by endorsement. Section 48 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, subject to the provision of Section 58. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to order is negotiable by the holder by endorsement and delivery thereof. Importance of delivery in negotiation. Section 46 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Delivery of an instrument is essential whether the instrument is payable to bearer or order for effecting the negotiation. The delivery must be voluntary and the object of delivery should be to pass the property in the instrument to the person to whom it is delivered. The delivery can be actual or constructive. Actual delivery takes place when the instrument changes and physically. Constructive delivery takes place when the instrument is delivered to the agent, clerk or servant of the endorsee on his behalf, or when the endorser after endorsement holds the instrument as an agent of the endorsee. Section 46 also lays down that when an instrument is conditionally or for a special purpose only, the property in it does not pass to the transferee, even though it is endorsed to him, unless the instrument is negotiated to a holder in due course. The contract on a negotiable instrument until delivery remains incomplete and revocable. The delivery is essential. The delivery is essential not only at the time of negotiation but also at the time of making or drawing of negotiable instrument. The right in the instrument are not transferred to the endorsee unless after the endorsement the same has been delivered. If a person makes the endorsement of instrument but before the same could be delivered to the endorsee, the endorser 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 dies. The legal representatives of the um, deceased person cannot negotiate the same by merely delivery thereof. Section 57. A delivery ban effective between the parties. Negotiation of instruments between the parties has between parties standing in immediate relation. How delivery is to be made. Delivery to be effectual must be made by the party making, accepting or endorsing the instrument, or by a person authorized by him in that behalf. According to Section 57, the legal representative of a deceased person cannot negotiate by delivery only. A promissory note, bill of exchange or check payable to order or endorsed by deceased but not delivered. A legal representative is not an agent of the deceased. Therefore, a legal representative cannot complete the instrument if the instrument was executed by the deceased but could not be delivered because of his death. Has between such parties and any holder of the instrument other than a holder in due course. It may be shown that the instrument was delivered conditionally or for a special purpose only and not for the purpose of transferring uh, absolu- absolutely the property therein.